Welcome to News Café. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Tonight, we dig deep into the Pinoy music scene with some of the coolest artists from our music industry. We start off with some of the brains behind Radio Republic, an online music channel. Ron Titular, Chief Operating Officer, Zach Lucero, Program Director, and Kelly Mangajas, Production Manager. And later on, I'll talk to up-and-coming artist BP Valenzuela. Good evening, guys. Welcome to News Café.
Good evening, Mitzi.
Good evening, Mitzi.
So Radio Republic, tell me how this all started, Ron.
Well, this started about, what was it, three years ago, guys?
About 3
3
years
years ago, maybe, yeah. We had, there's this thing called the Music Elements Camp. I don't know if you've heard
The
about
boot
that.
camp for music training?
That's true.
Yeah,
That's with
training
our
musicians.
friend Twinkie Lagdameo and also Maestro Ryan Kayab.
Right.
And together with our principal, Mr. Jun C. They had been doing this music camp for some time, and they discovered that there were a ton of Filipino artists there that were not having the opportunity to get anywhere on our traditional media.
Right.
So Twinkie bumped into me and she said, you know, it's such a shame. There's no platform for these artists.
Yeah.
And I had been doing work on the internet for internet media and internet radio and internet video streaming for about 2 years at that time.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Don't try so hard in traditional media. There's a whole new world out there.
Yeah.
And it's happening on the internet.
Yeah.
And so that's how we started that.
Right. So how did the audiences respond to this? I mean, what do you think?
Oh.
You all started together at the same time, ba?
Yeah.
Just came at a different time.
We
So it's
did.
evolved a lot since then, no?
Actually, Kelly was with the camp.
Yeah, I started off with the Elements Camp. And
Well, how was that?
It was good. It was good. This is the first time I really saw the wealth of talent.
Right.
I've been in the music scene also for a long time, but going to that camp and seeing talent from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao all together in one spot,
Right.
really, you know, parang opened my eyes, you know, about music again. And yeah, we started together, and then we moved over to Radio Republic after that.
Yeah. You all come from different eras, sort of
Exactly.
the music industry, no?
Exactly.
I can tell by the grain. The grain is here, you know.
Zach, you also had your own morning show even. I mean, how has it changed for you, the industry? over the years?
The onset of the internet just practically changed everything. But in a way also it's very difficult because before you'd rely on probably your favorite radio station, just one. Now there's just so many.
Yeah.
So it changed in the way that, you know, music, it's easier to put stuff out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's hard to get the people's attention.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much
So
out
many
there.
choices
So
out there.
That's
in
true.
a way, it's like it's a plus and a minus.
And that's what Radio Republic does. You try to curate music for audiences because, like you said, there's so much out there. How do we
that's
filter?
true. Yeah.
Can you tell me about what criteria you look for?
Zach?
Basically, we just want to showcase what's out there. We don't create the music. Whatever's out there, you know, it's new stuff from your veterans and from upcoming artists. You know, we just try to give them a platform.
For example, BP Valenzuela, who will be featuring later.
Yeah,
How did you
exactly.
find her? How did that happen?
She just popped up in my feed in Facebook.
As things
Looking
go
for music,
nowadays.
and
Tuesday.
okay, and then I listened to her song, and then hey, this is really nice, and we put it out there, and the response is good. So that's what I mean. Sometimes some of these great songs don't hear the light of day in radio
Yes.
Yeah.
or on
That's true.
TV. So I mean, it's sad, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, you know, Radio Republic, we just try to, you know.
Yeah, we're all about discovery. So we don't just sit back and wait for the music to come to us
Right.
as well. We actively go out and try to find the artists that are out there.
Right.
And like we said, we discovered a wealth of artists. We
Yes.
get a backlog of music
Sure,
sent to us
submissions,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, about three months. I'm trying to clear that
So
up.
you have to sift through all of this music. and-
Yeah, it's fun.
So what would you say in terms of the OPM music scene? What is it like today? How would you describe the current state of OPM?
I'd say it's the good side about it. You know, it's easier to make music. It's people they're producing their own stuff. They're mixing their own stuff, and they can get it out same day.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing about it. But on the not so good thing is I just wish traditional media would still push more. In fact, if they can change the ratio, hey, why not? You know, 100% Filipino music all the time.
Yeah.
Why not? You know, so
Well, there are some arguments that the current it's not so original. Current OPM is not so original. They're either revivals or rehash.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Well, my take on that is if revival is another issue, that's just covering. But if it is music done by a Filipino, whether it be in English, Tagalog, or Bisaya,
So
or
OPM man.
oh, for me, yeah.
Okay.
I recently came from a trip from Korea, and it's just amazing. You know, they've been playing all their stuff. It's all K-pop everywhere.
Yeah.
So you get a taste of their culture. It's like, hey, I'm in Korea. Unlike, you know, the sad thing that I hear from some of my friends who come from, let's say, the U.S., they go here, they listen to the radio, hey, it's like I never left home. And I'm like, that's not a good thing, you know. Where's the Filipino identity right there?
Yeah.
So.
But then again, that's what you get through the traditional outlets.
Exactly.
I mean, if we say that, I don't think we can say that it's true, that it's just all about rehashes and remakes and stuff like that. Again, there's a wealth of original Philippine material out there. And the Philippine music scene, the new Philippine music scene is just overflowing with a vast variety of music these days. I mean, Zach and I will sit there and we'd say, like, listen to this stuff, you know. A couple of years ago, or even, well, in our time,
Still your time.
It's still our time. You know, you wouldn't hear such a variety in the music that's being produced by kids these days.
Yeah.
Again, later on you'll hear BP and kids.
Amazing. And I mean, Filipinos love to do this. We always compare. Oh, you sound like let's say, some band from the U.S. or something. But how do you think we'll get to what you were saying, Zach, to the level of Korea? How will Filipino music make it there? Because, of course, the government invested a lot in promoting the culture
I think
of
it's
Korea.
just, getting that mindset and making the people proud of what we have. The people cannot, how can you appreciate something that you don't hear to begin with?
Yes.
So the first step for me, at least, is just, change the mindset of traditional media and radio. And they should just play more stuff, really.
For sure.
Right. Kelly, you're going to say something.
And awareness, I mean, I think people out there should realize that there are other artists also making new music, and there are people who continue to make music every day. And actually, like in RadioRepublic.ph, we release one new song every day.
Right.
And that just goes to show that there's a lot of stuff out there, and people just have to pick up on it. A lot of these people are independent artists doing their own music, and they just want platforms to showcase what they have.
That's right. And even the seasoned artists, I mean, like Basti Artadi recently launched his
That's
album
right, his
through you
solo
guys.
album. Yeah.
And online. This is all online.
All
right?
online.
So all these people we haven't heard from in a long time. Even you guys are going to be launching your album soon. So how do you bring all of this together? Is there a balance that you need to strike? Or you really need these seasoned artists still? No, it's not that you're focusing on independent.
Yeah, no, we still bring the seasoned artists in. There's still a lot of great music that they produce as well. And so that's deserving of being discovered as well.
Right.
I think what you said earlier is very important, what Zach said too, that we need support, the local industry needs support from traditional media, as well as the government too as well. People need to understand that music is it's a reflection of our culture.
That's true.
It's a reflection of our lifestyle.
Speaks very much of who we are.
Yeah, definitely. So it only helps us as a culture to be able to support the local music industry.
Yeah. Who for you would be the OPM icons? Each of you. Let me start with you, Ron. Can you name one? Someone who will always stand out there. I mean,
Someone
it's
who will
unfair.
always stand out?
Could be unfair because it could be a
This
new
is really,
OPM.
This is really difficult.
Some of your favorites? Top 2, 3?
Let's skip over this.
Besides Imago and Kwan.
There's just such a...
Of course, we can't forget Joey, the likes of Joey Ayala and all the well.
That would be me. I'd go for
Joey.
Joey Ayala, Cynthia Alexander. I love those guys.
There's just so much.
Some of your favorites, other ones?
I'm more of a rock and roll guy, so I'd go for like Peppa Smith, and I'd go for like the guys from Razorback and all those guys. So yes.
Yeah.
Kwan then.
Of course. Nandito,
Imago
syempre.
din.
I mean, hey, we still have some of my favorites also, Imago and Kwan. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. All right, for you, Ron, I mean, some of the new ones. How about the new ones you've been
For the
discovering?
newer ones?
Because some we're just hearing about through Radio Republic.
Some of the ones that we featured recently, Ransom Collective is awesome. And then so is the Brat Pack, which is a young blues group that competed. They competed
Memphis for
in
us.
Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, they were awesome.
Very country, yeah, it's true. Really, lots of Western
Dahil may ganun bago,
influences.
buildings, ourselves the elves,
Yeah.
of course BP.
Even even down south, there's a young lady who sent
Yes,
some music,
yes,
Teo Pitogo, I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
fantastic
Galing
stuff.
Yeah.
All over the Philippines. I think music is just something that Filipinos have a gift for.
Yes.
It's God-given
That's
gift.
the Latino, I think, spirit in
Yes.
us. Yeah.
So,
But do you think they'll make it mainstream, or is it even a goal? Should it be a goal to make it mainstream? Because sometimes this caters to a niche audience.
Yeah.
Is that a goal that musicians should aspire to?
I think it's kind of hard to say. When you say mainstream now, it's a little bit different. I mean, with the advent of internet,
Yeah.
right? Who's to say really what is mainstream and
Right.
what is popular? Internet has democratized media. So you might have a lot of people following one person on traditional media.
Right.
Then you'd have a ton of people following somebody else on the internet.
That's right. Well, hold that thought because it's time for a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about how technology and social media have changed the way we consume radio and the music industry.
Libo-libong alaala, dala ng amon o daan-daang larawan ang nagdaraan sa aking paningin. Daan-daang nakaraan ibinabalik ng simoy ng langit. Nagtawag ng laban kung bakit hindi aking damdamin ay nakalalaruan ng baliwat ng ulan. Sinong di mapapasayaw sa ulan? Sinong di mababaliw sa ulan?
You're tuned in to News Cafe, and we're talking OPM with some of the coolest guys on the planet. Ron Titular, Zach Lucero, and Kelly Mangahas of Radio Republic. Cool kayo talaga.
Yeah, we're
Now, we were just talking about going mainstream, as you guys have done at some point in your lives. You wanted to share something.
Yeah,
Zach, on going mainstream.
artists would have different takes on this. I mean, some would strive for getting to the mainstream, being popular. Some just don't care, you know, they just want to be honest with their music, get it out there and, you know, play live. That's fine. But I think as a people, you know, Filipino music should not be the minority. I mean, sorry, I keep on getting back into this. Dapat yun yung mainstream. I feel that, you know, if you care about your culture, then that should be priority.
Yeah. Well, let's take your case, for example, Imago versus Human Folk. Probably Human Folk would not be as mainstream as Imago, right?
Yes. Human Folk is more world music slash jazz because Johnny that's his thing.
Yeah.
And Imago, it wasn't planned or anything. I mean, it happened, then it happened. And why? Because during that time, traditional media, they were crossing over bands left and right.
Yeah.
First part of 2000, the decade. So again, it went back to that. Now it shifted to something else. So so that's why. So
it's all about preferences, because unfortunately, even in the world music scene, you aren't really an artist until you make it in the U.S., right? Whether you're from Europe or something. And in the Philippines,
everybody's gunning for the U.S.
Right?
surprisingly.
Yeah.
I was in a trip there early this year, and they were. You'd be surprised. I talked to a Malaysian. Yeah, we're trying to make it here in the U.S. And then you talk to a guy from Germany. They're all trying to make it in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is tough, man. Why don't you guys try to make it in your own country first?
Yes.
And make something there.
Exactly.
I mean, look at Korea. I mean, they have their own version of the boy band pop thing. Turned it into what, you know.
They really manufactured.
Yeah, but it's theirs now. They claimed it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So let's talk about radio now, traditional media. For you, Ron, you worked in the radio industry for a long time.
Let's not say how long.
Okay, but you are a veteran. So is radio that there was a time when they're saying radio is dead, no one listens to it, everybody's going online. What would you say to that?
There could be an argument against that because I think each media has its own advantages and disadvantages. And I don't think that you can completely take away the advantages that radio has, right?
Yeah.
I think initially when internet came out, people looked at it and said, oh, that's going to replace TV. That's
Yeah.
going to replace radio. Or I can do my radio station on internet or my TV station on internet. But the fact is that internet, it's a totally different media on its own.
Yeah.
And it's so it acts differently, it behaves differently.
Yeah.
And because of that, I don't think you can say that it'll totally kill radio or TV.
Right.
They're different medias. Plus, when we get to the point where, you know, all the EMF starts coming out, radio will still,
Right.
it's just a basic analog broadcast.
So
will
video
still
killed
work.
the radio star? No? Internet killed the radio star? That's
I
not
don't
going to
think
happen.
so.
Because people, in terms of listening to new artists, you think that people still discover them through the radio? Not so, because, you know, it's still through
Depends
referrals.
depends. If you're talking about radio, internet, of course, in
Yeah.
the U.S. and, you know, discovering new music, it's really strong out there. But in the Philippines, I'd say radio is still, you know,
Yeah. It's still
They're,
different.
I mean,
strong.
they're not. I mean, but a lot of them are not taking chances anymore. You know what I mean? They just, especially with the labels, you know,
Right.
with signing artists, it's still the same old people that they keep
They're going
on.
for the same sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not looking, and I think that's the state of the record industry also now. It's changing, so they're not really putting into risks, doing risks
Right.
I think
anymore.
that's global, though.
Yeah,
as
that's global.
Yeah.
Because this-
Exactly.
Let's face it, it's a matter of economics, too,
That's
as
true.
well.
Yeah.
At the
Right,
end
the
of the
cost
day.
of being able to
Keep the
record
doors
an
open.
artist and
Yeah.
promote it that way, that costs. And if you compare that to being able to do it on the internet, like we said, which is democratized
Yeah.
Yes.
media, and it democratized a lot of businesses involved in media.
Right.
That is a clear, you know, a factor in the whole economic makeup
Yeah.
of the recording
So
industry.
how do you feel about music being shared freely online, if you can access it for free? I mean, you're a recording artist. Is that a big issue for you, that people can get your music, rip it off, you know, get it for free?
basta I'll rip off their stuff to that.
Let's share.
Share.
My take on it,
Personally,
if you can support and pay for the music, go ahead. Please do. I mean, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, the internet, you know, if it's on torrent, there's no stopping it
Yeah.
already. It's like, you know, you got to roll with it na lang eh.
Me as an artist, I'm also good with sharing. I support like sharing music and spreading it around, as long as you don't make money off our stuff.
Right.
But so, as long as it's for listening, for sharing, I'm fine.
That's
you know,
right.
Personally.
And even now, everybody can be an artist. Everybody has their 30 seconds of fame.
Yeah.
How do you feel about these artists who make it big on the internet?
I'm so happy for them.
great,
You
man.
know, it's really tough. On the onset of YouTube, when it started out, of course, it wasn't as hard. But now, I mean, good luck. You got to
Yeah.
come up with something really different if you want to be a YouTube star, just like
I mean,
that.
we were talking about this. Some artists have a crappy camera point.
Yeah.
They get more
true.
hits
They'll
than
get
like
more hits than-
super produced.
Yeah.
It's a different
Yeah.
style. You know what I mean? It's more personal.
Yeah.
It's more individual. So
Right.
it's a great thing. If these artists get big, then that's awesome, man.
But because some of it is really just the packaging, no? They're able
Yeah.
to look good, but for you at Radio Republic, you're looking for the sound. Essentially,
We're-
it's still really
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
We're
the
looking
talent,
for
the sound.
authenticity and genuineness. I mean, for the internet, it's all about sharing. It's all about a genuineness. It's the medium that conveys the most intimacy,
Yeah.
I might be able to say. And because it's so intimate, people look for something that's real
Yeah.
and honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's also what we look for in the music
Right.
that we share. And I think there's a whole lot of that in the Philippine music scene that has not had the opportunity to be shared yet. And that's what we're hoping to do at Radio
It's
Republic.
great that you're bridging
Yeah.
this gap, but
Yeah.
how would you say audiences are responding to this? Let's say the bigger population, especially given internet is not really great in our country.
Not.
How are audiences responding to what you're putting out there?
Pretty good. I'm sure your guest later on, BP, can mention to you about, I don't know if she will though, about her clicks on her SoundCloud. It has helped. We're all about giving back all those views back to them.
Yeah.
In Radio Republic, we've reached a peak of 500,000 in 1 week.
Wow.
So they landed on us but that was a peak. That was summertime, and I think it was Holy Week.
Yeah.
But we're averaging about 200 plus a week, so
Yeah.
which is not bad at all.
Yeah.
So audience response pretty good. You know, I get a lot of emails and messages. Hey, great discovery here. Hey, good stuff.
Right.
Where can I find them? Where can we watch them play? You know, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And with the internet culture, we're also like, we're also in the realm of sharing. So even with
Yes.
other companies that are around us, we like sharing our stuff, and they help us as well. We partner up with them, and they share our stuff. So it's a different internet culture, I think, compared
It
to
is.
like traditional where if you're this thing,
That's
you're
right.
this thing.
Solo.
Very-
Us,
yeah.
we're like, let's help each other, share it out, let's spread it out.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between.
Yeah, Ron, you were going to say
Yeah.
something?
I agree with that.
And this is nowadays, I mean, especially this generation now of
Yep.
Facebook,
Linking,
social media.
yeah.
Exactly. And then now we have Spotify Philippines,
That's
right?
right.
So making your own playlists.
Right.
Do you think this is a threat to, to our industry threat or actually?
Not at all, because even if you were asked to do your own playlist, you'd still need to find out what to put there. So it's like the thing about the internet, you go to Google and what do I search for?
Yeah,
you know?
really.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying, hey, this is the stuff we discovered and then make your own playlist in Spotify if you want.
Right.
You know, so there.
Well, for you, Zach and Kelly, remember when you guys started with your bands, this was not the scene
No.
then. What would it
That
be
old,
like
huh?
if back in 98 or 2003? If you started, it's a whole different beast now, no?
It's different.
What are the
You-
challenges before compared to now?
You want to start?
Back then, I think we were still cassette tape. I mean, our challenge was, basically just to get our stuff, make videos, get our stuff on the mainstream, get our stuff
Yeah.
on radio.
Yeah.
That was the big challenge. But we'd start with the college scene, and we grew from that. But it was only recently that, we had to be focused on our website, we had to be focused on our social media, we had to be focused on our Facebook.
Yeah.
These are all new things which we're learning on
Right.
the fly as well.
Right.
Which is good. It's either you adapt or you die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
basically
true.
it, you know?
Grab it
Exactly.
cassette. I can't imagine how that was. That time, really? I mean, I can't relate it.
Oh, CD ka na, Zach. How was it for you, Zach?
Technology was the challenge, at least for me. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to wait. You have so many ideas, but you can't record them. Just like now, if I think of something, I can just hold up in a room or a
Exactly.
bathroom
Yeah.
and just record
That's
there.
true. In your car. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Put it out.
put it out. The
Yeah.
quality now is really good. Then you really have to wait. If you're lucky, if you have a nice 4-track, sige na nga, cassette, and then you had to go through the recording process.
Get the studio.
But the nice thing about before, for bands at least, there was only NU, so you
That's
just had
right.
that one.
was the go-to.
Yeah, the one place to get your music out, and if it crosses over, then good. And basically that's it. That technology was the most frustrating for me before.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk more about that. We'll just take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about how original Filipino music will conquer the international scene.
Pagkat ang kagubatan ay nawawala, mga puno nito'y nangingibang bayan. At pag walang puno, wala na rin mapupugaran. Kapag ang agil ay walang pugad, wala na siyang dahilang lumipad. O haring ibon, hari kong tunay, nais kong tumulong ng kaharian mo'y muling mabuhay.
You're watching News Cafe, and I'm talking to Zach, Kelly, and Ron of Radio Republic. Okay, we're talking about OPM going international. What will it take to really make it big out there?
For me, it starts with traditional media.
Always.
Yeah, they make
Let's
it
get
popular, make a clamor, make some noise here in our own soil, and good music, people will notice. But if they shut it out and nobody's hearing the good stuff, nothing's
Yeah.
gonna happen. I was chatting with this guy from iHeartRadio, San Francisco, and they're interested in curating some Filipino songs for the city.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, Zach, so where do I start? This was on Facebook. I go, huh? I mean, okay, what are you into? I asked him what he was into. He said he was into rock. Okay, give me a decade, because, you know, so I can associate something for you. And I just kept on feeding him stuff. Yeah. And then he was quiet for about 20 minutes in the whole chat, and I was always checking out the music. And he came back to me, oh my gosh, he said, you know, I can't believe about the variety and depth of the music. You know, I wasn't convinced that we could do a playlist, but now I am, he said. So we're excited with that. And he was surprised. Yeah. And that's what I mean. You can't appreciate what you can't hear. Yeah.
And this is what's great. You find these things not through radio really, but through internet. And I was going to ask you, Ron, because looking at the artists now, honestly, when I listen to the radio here, it's very frustrating because I don't hear music I really like. Of course, this is a matter of taste, but Radio Republic and other alternative sources of music is really where you find the good music. How do you find the radio situation in the Philippines now?
Again, I have to say probably it's dictated by economics.
Yeah.
And so, as Kelly mentioned earlier, and Zach as well, the industry is just wrapping itself around the what they probably feel are sure shots that can help them recoup their costs.
Right.
And so that gives it a pretty limited scope.
Yeah.
In terms of music that they're going to put out there. So,
because when we're looking at awards, for example, you guys have gotten many awards in your careers, but now it seems many artists are also just waiting for that award. It's not necessarily, it doesn't really speak of talent all the time with the new ones, huh? Sorry. And that's brutal, isn't it? But I mean, sometimes it's like you're saying it's all about economics.
Yep. No? Yeah, it is. So people kids and people are just not buying music the way they used to buy. There's really no need to, because the internet gives them the opportunity, as we said earlier, to just share it with each other or to find it being shared online. And so that's where people are going to. It makes the whole process easier, and you know, it just gives everybody the opportunity to discover a lot that's out there. Again, because there's so much out there's a lot of garbage out there too, and that's what we're hoping to do, to be able to bring out the best of Philippine music, you know.
So where do you think we're headed in terms of OPM, at least
world domination? That's where we're headed.
World domination.
We're going to conquer the world.
That was
just make sure Ellen DeGeneres is watching, and we're good.
We're going to see Zach, Kelly, and Ron there.
One
to be 4 years old to come out there.
One of the additional comments that the guy from iHeartRadio said is when he had listened to the recommendations that Zach sent him, he said two things. One, the depth of it was amazing. The amount of it was amazing. But the other thing was that he said it's all world class.
Wow.
Yes, he said
all world class. The music that he'd checked out on our site, and the music that we've been sharing. So all the more they're wholly convinced for us to be able to help them curate. I think 4 hours a day they want.
He was excited. He was excited. He was like, wow, it's the next
I was
thing.
happy and sad at the same time. Here's a radio guy from the U.S. who's interested. If I propose a 4-hour straight OPM show, perhaps, although Jammy at 8.3 is doing well with the weekends.
That's right.
But on the others, I mean, I don't think they
wouldn't make it.
Yeah, it was a weird feeling during that time when I was chatting. And true enough with what Ron said, I completely understand the whole economics thing. But then again, if you want to be dictatorial about it, if you really just cut out all the foreign stuff and just stick, and people had no choice to begin with. I mean, let's just think of it that way. Wala kayong choice, makikinig talaga kayo.
Just music education.
I'm sure they're not going to turn off the radio.
Yeah.
And if they wanted foreign stuff, let them go to the internet and not the other way around where they have to go to the internet to look for OPM.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So
because it seems in going international, the Philippines, they just love to say, hey, he's half Filipino, or Bruno Mars is half Filipino. You know, so-and-so is half Filipino.
Yeah.
That's our international scene.
I know.
How do you feel about that?
Well,
they're sticking to that as the standard.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, we're proud for those Filipinos abroad. Yeah. I think, again, the Filipinos is gifted in music no matter where they are. Yeah. But the whole frustrating thing about Filipinos having to be discovered by other cultures first before they're discovered
it's that mentality. It's really
colonial. Still have that. That's right.
Yeah. So that's a frustrating thing. Yes, it is.
But how are things changing? How do you hope to see Radio Republic in the future? I mean, you have evolved through the years.
Yeah.
Where do you think, what future collaborations are you looking at, future projects?
Oh, we're doing a lot of collaborations now, even across, as Kelly shared earlier, with other groups that are also promoting Philippine music in the Philippine music scene.
Right.
So we're doing collaborations with them as well as some other partners online. We do a lot of mixing and mashing up too with different communities. So
Yeah.
we've done projects with art groups,
I love that.
projects
Your
with
art in
science
transit, for
groups. Yeah, that's
example.
right.
Yeah. How did you come up with that? I mean, this whole art with music, of course, it's only natural.
Well, as I said earlier, music is just such a part of a reflection of our lifestyle, right? And I think there are certain subcultures in a community that just run through the whole community. Food is one.
Oh, yes.
And for Filipinos, music is a huge thing, right? So we wanted to be able to show how music runs through all different kinds of cultures in our life. And art was one of them that we know that has strong ties. Believe it or not, the geeks and the science groups,
Oh,
they
yes.
love
You did
music.
something with the Mind
Right.
Museum.
Mind
That's
Museum
cool.
as well,
Yeah,
Very
we
cool.
did that. And then, of course, we have the adventurers and the sports guys, too, that, you know, they all love music, too. So we have a series of events that we put together because we're, like we said, we're all about discovery.
Yeah.
And then we give people the opportunity to experience
Yes.
Right.
things that we discover. So we discover great music as well as, say, great art.
Yeah.
So we'll let them discover it online, then we'll bring it on the ground so people can experience it.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the case with Art in Transit, which is actually an initiative of our friends from Rockwell, the Power Plant Mall. But a couple of months before that, they had seen us do an event in the Picasso Boutique Serviced Residences,
Yeah.
where we brought together the art community with the music community. BP, who you'll see later,
Yeah.
was one of the artists that performed there. We had some cool live painting with guys like DJ Paste.
PJ Martellino.
Great. So the
Yeah.
point is the
Angelo
art is
Barraga.
influenced by the music.
Yes.
Yes,
basically.
yeah.
Okay.
Collaboration.
So they paint to the music.
That's right. And one of the guys from Rockwell was there that night
Yeah.
and saw it. And, you know, they do this annual art thing at Rockwell. So when they saw what we were doing, they said, "Ooh, can you help us out with our art thing happening?"
Yeah.
And that
Excellent
was
way
Art
of
in
getting the
Transit.
music also more to
Yeah.
the people.
Right.
Yeah. Now, Kelly, Zach, you're going to be launching your new albums for your respective bands. Are you doing it differently? I mean, remember back in the day when you launched your first albums. How is it different? What are you doing different now? I'm sure you're using social media.
It's easier for us to launch we're launching our second single, and we launched the album. When was that? 2 months ago.
2 months
A month
ago.
ago. 2 months ago. So I found it easier because if this is fast, just make a little digital poster. I didn't have to wait for a printer, you know.
Yeah.
Get it out there, boom, and then pick a venue, invite everybody, and it's done. So
It's easier with
Yeah, I found it
technology.
easier. Yeah.
Same
Kelly.
thing with us. I mean, we just launched Quad 4 Volume 2, and what we're doing is we're keeping active on social media, and we're tying up with other internet stations as well. What I'm learning with Radio Republic, I'm also applying to my band.
Great.
You know, so at the same time, Radio Republic's helping, other internet stations are helping. And yeah, and just getting everyone together and using social media a lot.
Yeah.
Especially giving people updates, putting our stuff online,
Hashtag
making it
DeGeneres.
easy, making it easy for people to get the
Bugging.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So all
And
of those
finally,
things.
you're just a few tips or to succeed. You guys have been in the industry long, and you are among the mentors now. What would you say to people who want to make it out, or even in the music industry? What does it take to really stay there, to make it and stay in the industry, Ron?
I think, first of all, cultivate your talent and really come out with your music, right? And then share it.
Yes.
Right? On the internet, it's there, and again, it's democratized media.
Yeah.
So you have the opportunity, as Kel and Zach said. I think one of the things I see them doing that I never saw bands doing before is really paying attention to. I'll get on my Facebook. I got to get on my Facebook. I'm going to share this. I'm going to, do that. And you couldn't see that in back in the day. They'd cut an album and they'd be dependent on traditional means of promoting. But now, at their fingertip, they can, if they do it wisely, it's not difficult for their music to be heard. And I think every musician wants their music to be heard
Yeah,
and shared.
keyword
Right?
share. Kelly.
Me, I just stay the course, love what you're doing, you know, just keep on doing it. And the secret with us, we've been around for 11 years, I think. Just, you know, just keep on doing what we're doing and keep the love for it. That's it, you know.
Good
and adapt to whatever's happening around you.
Exactly. Zach?
11 years na kayo.
Ikaw
Mas
20.
matagal kayo.
You know, just like what you said, keep the course. Don't stop playing. Just be honest. Keep on writing music. The moment you stop,
Up and down din eh. No?
yeah, you're gonna experience peaks and dips here and there. But just stay the course. Be honest with your music. Keep on playing. Don't stop, and you'll be fine.
All right. Don't stop believing.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Time
Thank
now
you,
for a
Mitzi.
quick break. News Cafe. We'll be right back.
And I still think back to that summer. Still remember. But all this ends with something better. Self-isolation and upgrading, fear and I need you now badly, but you'll never hear that coming from me. I'm fine, I'm good, I'm great, so much to do, nothing to say. Baby, if you left it to me, I wouldn't have let you leave. But I'm just speculation
This is News Cafe, and we have singer-songwriter BP Valenzuela. Good evening, BP. Welcome to News Cafe.
Hello.
And that was your song you were performing. Tell us a little about that song quickly before we talk about you.
Well, the general scheme of things was, kasi I live beside EDSA, like literally beside the Annapolis-Santolan station. So my view is like traffic. Every hour it's just traffic. Sometimes I watch because I wonder like if people look out their car window and they see me, I'm looking out the window. But of course that's impossible because when you the cars just look like Hot Wheels to me.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like it was in a weird time of my life when I felt so helpless, and that's worse than being sad about.
Yeah.
And because sometimes you just feel so small. So it's just about that, like.
Good to see that EDSA traffic can actually influence you in a good way, right? You made something out of that, frustration over traffic.
Yeah, and I turned it into a weird kind of melancholic thing.
Very creative. Now, you're only 19 years old, but you have been in the music scene for quite a while. How did you get into this industry?
Well, the exposure started when I released my EP. Like,
Self-produced?
Self-produced, yeah. Literally in that room we were talking about.
Yeah.
I started though making music by myself when I was in a studio and they kind of gave me really bad output. I don't know why, because I was like 12. So that's when I decided to like produce on my own. If they didn't take me seriously, I would do it instead. So I would play guitar for bands, but I would write music for myself on my own. And I got to, I was the performer before. Like
You're shy, right?
I was pretty
You're quite shy,
shy.
yeah.
I only started performing on my own when I got into Ateneo.
Yeah.
Like I went into an org called Ateneo Musicians Pool, and then suddenly I had the courage to sing. I never sang really until college.
Yeah. In fact, you won a college singing competition, didn't
Yeah,
you?
that was weird.
How was that?
That was a prank.
Was it? Okay.
I ended up, my friend dared me to do it. I don't sing, but I won, which is cool.
Yeah, you were meant to be in this industry.
I don't know.
Yeah. Who are your
I wouldn't say
influences? I
that.
mean, growing up, what did you like? What kind of music did you listen to? What would you say really inspires you? What kind of music?
Lyrically, the music that inspired me was like the music my sisters would give me. I'd have a Discman. I'd listen to Third Eye Blind, Coldplay, Radiohead,
Yeah.
Jimmy Eat World, like that kind of really subtly emotional content.
You like the depth. You also like the words in there, the lyrics, because that's what I find. You remind me very much of Imogen Heap. She records her own sound and tries, and you're a one-woman band, basically.
Yeah, I was about to say that. She's one of my musical influences, along with like Licky Lee.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm musically also very influenced by Madonna and
Quite eclectic there. You've got pop, but your music is classified as electronic pop.
electronic pop.
Yeah. So how do you
So-
come up with this kind of? Because now in your age, there's all this software technology. This is what you're really incorporating into your music. Right.
Because I want to keep the emotional content of, I didn't say, like, now pop music is pretty, like, straightforward in the way they say things, but I want to keep, like, the emotional content and lyricism of, like, the 90s, the 80s, and
Yeah.
incorporate it into the sonic elements of now. Like, I am really influenced by the electronic scene now, especially, like, well, not only international acts, like more obscure acts like James Blake, but especially here, there's a thriving electronic scene.
Right. Well, let's
here.
talk about the OPM scene. When you talk electronic, that's not very mainstream. So what, for you, is the local electronic scene like here?
It's very underground there.
Yeah.
Like, it's usually, I am part of an electronic music collective called Logic Club, and we host events almost every month. Also, other collectives do that because some of us don't quite fit into the band scene. Some
Right.
of us don't fit into the EDM club scene. So
Right.
we just find ways. The OPM scene is very varied.
Yeah.
Like, I
It's
wouldn't
changed a lot because for your music, no one would really think this is typical OPM music, no? So what is OPM to you now?
OPM is it's a great way to make people listen to local music because they're like, oh, OPM, we have to be proud. Well, I don't know about that. Pero I call it local music kasi
Yeah.
if you made an OPM, kunwari, you made an OPM Spotify playlist and then Con is playing something and then suddenly it's me. It's weird, no?
Yeah,
'Cause you can
the combinations that come up, yeah.
you can see how diverse everything is na, lalo na in the social media age. Everyone is trying to
Right.
take everything in.
Yeah.
And there's just so many avenues for people to do.
Well, even in terms of promotion, where back in the day, musicians would look for labels, you can do it all on your own. How do you promote your music? Do you rely especially on social media?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think I would be where I am now if the internet didn't exist.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my releases are online because yun nga, I thought most of my audience, they're college kids. But
Yeah.
I realized, like, even with the internet, it's very crucial to perform. I perform in most of the not legendary, but the gig places. Like
Places you
Saginaw.
used to go to watch your favorite bands,
Yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
I realized, like, even like people like doctors, lawyers, they come up to me, like my friends' parents, they come up to me and they're like, oh my God, your
Yeah.
music, and it's different. And I'm just like, if you look around, there's so much more. And
Yeah.
especially the internet, it's a huge avenue for people to just do their
Yeah.
own thing.
So you're even surprised by your own audiences. You thought you were just catering to college kids.
Yeah.
But this is the beauty of the internet and social media, right? So do you feel like your music has more of an international flavor to it?
Well, it's been featured on some international music publications like DIY, but I really feel like the local scene is where, like, personally me, personally, I really push for people to discover local music, like how varied it is. Not just electronic music, all of the genres.
Yeah.
Like there's country, there's
even reggae,
and rap.
Right.
And if people could just look.
So how do you think platforms like Radio Republic help you? I mean, Radio Republic really finds great artists like yourself, you know, that we may not find out about. How have they helped your career?
Oh, no. Yeah, well, you know how Radio Republic is also based off the internet?
Yes.
I can attribute a lot of my plays, the general scheme of things on SoundCloud, to them, because suddenly they just picked it up, and I woke up one day and I was like, what? This is insane. Because the review was from Zach Lucero. Yeah. From Imago, and then there was like a comment from Kelly from Kwan, and I was just like, oh my God. Yeah, I grew up listening to OPM on Mix, on MTV, so I was just like, this is insane. Like, my life has just gone full circle, I think.
And you're so young, BP. Now, future collaborations, I'm sure you have a lot of dreams you're still looking to make happen. What are you looking at in the near future?
I'm still trying to finish my album before I turn 20.
Wow, that's 1 year.
So I'm working with Nick, and I'm working with a lot of other local musicians. Some people approach me, they're like, how do I electronify my sound? I'm just like, okay, I'll help. I'm open to a lot of collaborations, like, because I feel like local music shouldn't be a competition with international music. I feel like if people just look, if people just try to discover these things, and Radio Republic is ultimately like one of the best avenues for that. If people just look, you can see that it's just so...
It's basically breaking borders, no?
Yeah.
That's a good point, though, that even you can collaborate with international artists without meeting them.
Yeah.
Because now you can just record. And how do you balance this with your busy school life? I mean, you're a student in Ateneo, maybe taking another course soon.
Yeah.
How does this, what are the challenges that you're facing now?
Well, I took up sociology in Ateneo, and towards the end of the year, I was like, you know what, I can't deny it. My passion's really music, producing music. So I released my EP towards the end of the year, like my first release, and I really felt like I shouldn't quit. Like I tried quitting like before I entered college, and then now I realized, no, this is really what I meant to do. So now I'm transferring to Music Prod in CSP. It's nice that we have like art courses, like a dedicated art school.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's great to see you really doing everything to learn more and enhance your craft. What kind of advice would you give other kids out there, even adults like me? I mean, people are starting late. It's never too late.
Yeah,
but to really get, what do you do to really get this creative process going?
People can learn. Like, it's, as you said, it's never too late. Even I got the hang of it only because I kept practicing.
Right.
I think it's just practice, hard work, motivation. If you really want to do it, you'll do it anyway.
Very true.
And I don't know, like, especially now that there are avenues for this, people should be game. If they want to do it, they can, because there's so many ways to do it now.
Exactly. Well, it's said that 10,000 hours makes an expert, and you're well on your way there. Thanks for sharing your time with us.
Thank you so much.
Very inspiring. We'll be watching out and listening more to you. And that's it for News Cafe this evening. Thank you very much, BP Valenzuela, for being on the show. And thanks also to our guests from Radio Republic who joined us earlier, Ron Titular, Zach Lucero, and Kelly Mangahas. See you next week right here on News Cafe. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Have a good evening.
If you can give me something different, then it's all that I've been looking for.
Video streaming for about 2 years at that time.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Don't try so hard in traditional media. There's a whole new world out there.
Yeah.
And it's happening on the internet.
Yeah.
And so that's how we started that.
Right. So how did the audiences respond to this? I mean, what do you think?
Oh.
You all started together at the same time, ba?
Yeah.
You came at a different time.
We
It's
did.
evolved a lot since then, no?
Actually, Kelly was with the camp.
Yeah, I started off with the Elements camp, and
Well, how was
I
that?
It was good. It was good. This is the first time I really saw the wealth of talent.
Right.
I've been in the music scene also for a long time, but going to that camp and seeing talent from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao all together in one spot,
Right.
really, parang opened my eyes, about music again. And yeah, we started together, and then we moved over to Radio Republic after that.
Yeah. You all come from different eras, sort of
Exactly.
the music industry, no?
Exactly.
I can tell by
I've
the
been
grain.
youngest.
The grain is here,
Zach, you also had your own morning show even. I mean, how has it changed for you, the industry? over the years?
The onset of the internet just practically changed everything. But in a way also it's very difficult
Yeah.
because before you'd rely on probably your favorite radio station, just one. Now there's just so many.
Yeah.
So it changed in the way that, music, it's easier to put stuff out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's hard to get the people's attention.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much
So
out
many
there.
choices
So
out there.
That's
in
true.
a way, it's like it's a plus and a minus.
And that's what Radio Republic does. You try to curate music for audiences because, like you said, there's so much out there. How
Yeah,
do we
that's
filter?
true. Yeah.
Can you tell me about what criteria you look for?
Zach?
Basically, we just want to showcase what's out there.
Yeah.
We don't create the music. Whatever.
Welcome to News Café. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Tonight, we dig deep into the Pinoy music scene with some of the coolest artists from our music industry. We start off with some of the brains behind Radio Republic, an online music channel. Ron Titular, Chief Operating Officer, Zach Lucero, Program Director, and Kelly Mangajas, Production Manager. And later on, I'll talk to up-and-coming artist BP Valenzuela. Good evening, guys. Welcome to News Café.
Good evening, Mitzi.
Hey, Mitzi.
So Radio Republic, tell me how this all started, Ron.
Well, this started about, what was it, three years ago, guys?
About 3
3
years.
years ago,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. We had, there's this thing called the Music Elements Camp. I don't know if you've heard
The
about
boot
that.
camp for music training?
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
true,
with
training
our
musicians.
friend Twinkie Lagdameo and also Maestro Ryan Kayab.
Right.
And together with our principal, Mr. June C. They had been doing this music camp for some time, and they discovered that there were a ton of Filipino artists there that were not having the opportunity to get anywhere on our traditional media.
Right.
So Twinkie bumped into me and she said, it's just such a shame. There's no platform for these artists.
Yeah.
And I had been doing work on the internet for internet media and internet radio.
Whatever's out there, it's new stuff from your veterans and from upcoming artists. We just try to give them a platform.
Right. For example, BP Valenzuela, who will be featuring later.
Yeah,
How did you
exactly.
find her? How did that happen?
She just popped up in my feed in Facebook.
As things
Looking
go
for music,
nowadays.
and
Yeah.
okay, and then I listened to her song, and then hey, this is really nice, and we put it out there, and the response is good. So that's what I mean. Sometimes some of these great songs don't hear the light of day in radio
Yes.
Yeah.
or on
That's true.
TV. So I mean, it's sad,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Radio Republic, we just try to
Yeah, we're all about discovery. So we don't just sit back and wait for the music to come to us
Right.
as well. We actively go out and try to find the artists that are out there.
Right.
And like we said, we discovered a wealth of artists.
Yes.
We get a backlog of
Yeah.
music
Sure,
sent to us
submissions,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, about three months. I'm trying to clear that
So
up.
you have to sift through all of this music. and-
Yeah, it's fun.
So what would you say in terms of the OPM music scene? What is it like today? How would you describe the current state of OPM?
I'd say it's the good side about it. It's easier to make music. It's people they're producing their own stuff. They're mixing their own stuff, and they can get it out same day.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing about it. But on the not so good thing is I just wish traditional media would still push more. In fact, if they can change the ratio hey, why not? 100% Filipino music all the time.
Yeah.
Why not? So.
Well, there are some arguments that the current, it's not so original, current OPM is not so original. They're either revivals or rehash.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Well, my take on that is if revival is another issue, that's just covering. But if it is music done by a Filipino, whether it be in English, Tagalog, or Bisaya,
So
or
OPM man.
oh, for me, yeah.
Okay.
I recently came from a trip from Korea, and it's just amazing. They've been playing all their stuff. It's all K-pop everywhere.
Yeah.
So you get a taste of their culture. It's like, hey, I'm in Korea. Unlike, the sad thing that I hear from some of my friends who come from, let's say, the U.S., they go here, they listen to the radio, hey, it's like I never left home. And I'm like, that's not a good thing, Where's the Filipino identity right there?
Yeah.
So.
But then again, that's what you get through the traditional outlets.
Exactly.
I mean, if we say that, I don't think we can say that it's true, that it's just all about rehashes and remakes and stuff like that. Again, there's a wealth of original Philippine material out there. And the Philippine music scene, the new Philippine music scene is just overflowing with a vast variety of music these days. I mean, Zach and I will sit there and we'd say, like, listen to this stuff, A couple of years ago, or even, well, in our time,
Still your time.
It's still our time. You wouldn't hear such a variety
That's right.
in the music that's being produced by kids these days.
Yeah,
Again, later on
yeah.
you'll hear BP and kids.
Amazing. And I mean, Filipinos love to do this. We always compare. Oh, you sound like let's say, some band from the U.S. or something. But how do you think we'll get to what you were saying, Zach, to the level of Korea? How will Filipino music make it there? Because, of course, the government invested a lot in promoting the culture
I think
of
it's
Korea.
just, getting that mindset and making the people proud of what we have. The people cannot, how can you appreciate something that you don't hear to begin with?
Yes.
So the first step for me, at least, is just, change the mindset of traditional media and radio. And they should just play more stuff, really.
For sure.
Right. Kelly, you're going to say something.
And awareness, I mean, I think people out there should realize that there are other artists also making new music, and there are people who continue to make music every day. And actually, like in RadioRepublic.ph, we release one new song every day.
Right.
And that just goes to show that there's a lot of stuff out there, and people just have to pick up on it. A lot of these people are independent artists doing their own music, and they just want platforms to showcase what they have.
That's right. And even the seasoned artists, I mean, like Basti Artadi recently launched his
That's
album
right, his
through
solo
you
album.
guys.
Yeah.
And online. This is all online.
All
right?
online.
So all these, people we haven't heard from in a long time. Even
Yes.
you guys are going to be launching your
Yes.
album soon. So how do you bring all of this together? Is there a balance that you need to strike? Or you really need these seasoned artists still? No, it's not like you're focusing on independent.
Yeah, no, we still bring the seasoned artists in. There's still a lot of great music that they produce as well. And so that's deserving of being discovered as well.
Right.
I think what you said earlier is very important, what Zach said too, that we need support, the local industry needs support from traditional media, as well as the government too as well. People need to understand that music is it's a reflection of our culture.
That's true.
It's a reflection of our lifestyle.
Speaks very much of who we are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So it only helps us